And go. Okay, so a couple housekeeping things. If you need to go to the restroom, it's right through the kitchen where Mark is standing, or you can hang out in the hall and then make a right, and it's right back there. In case of a fire, we got plenty of exits. Please run out into the rain. There's also exits out this way where you came in. Okay. Let's start with introductions. That was me. And we're going to go right to our market staffing committee. And sitting over here to my left is Shanoa Sower, the on-site coordinator. If you've been out to the market ever, you've probably met Shanoa. And if you didn't, you're gonna. So right up here in the blue. And let's see, we also have a market committee, parts of which are here. Jessica is on our committee. I'll talk about you in a second, Marcia. Jessica Conjour on our committee. Woody from Rootbound Farms over here. Anybody else from the committee? Cindy, wherever you're hiding. Cindy Bliss on the committee. We do have a volunteer committee. It's elected from our vendor categories, and then we have 2 community representatives that I appoint. So file that away for later. So speaking with us today, and I'm so happy to have our community resources here today. Like I said, Jessica Conjour from University of Maryland Extension with SNAP Education. Bill Hitte over here with the Small Business Development Center in La Plata, in the La Plata campus. And Kelli Wilkey over there in the back. And did you bring somebody with you, Kelli? You got Julie with you. So if you've got questions about the health department, about licensing cottage food, Kelli and Julie are going to be able to walk you through that. And they'll be up here in just a little bit. Okay. Promise I won't talk this whole time. So we're going to start with Jessica, because Jessica's got to get on a plane pretty soon. So let me hand you over to Jessica.
Do I need the microphone? I'm pretty loud. Yeah.
For the recording.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry. I'll just speak slowly into it. So what I have for you today is probably more for anybody that's doing produce, but I'm happy to support the market in any way that I can. So as Kelli said, I work with the University of Maryland Extension. It's the SNAP education program. We call it SNAP Ed. So that means that I'm basically your fruit and vegetable pusher in all places, mainly Title I schools and other food access points. So food pantries and farmers markets being one of those. So what I have up here are just some resources, some things to look at, some what we consider best practices. And I'm just going to highlight a few, but then I'm going to leave this here. So afterwards, if you want to, we've got some pens up here, take some fun stickers, things like that. Grab what you like, what you see. Otherwise, take my card and we can connect at a later time. So just a few of those things. One would be pairing some of the lovely things that you have on your table, and this could almost go for anybody, produce or not, with some resources that we have or you have. So one awesome thing would be to, if you're looking at like bundles, pairing things with some recipes, so people know, okay, what else can I do with some of these produce items? We have tons of recipes. Those can be provided. Also, I'm going to leave this one for last because we're going to chat about it. Also, signage, right? Clear, simple signs. I don't know if anybody, even at the grocery store, and you're like, okay, something is $2.49 a pound. Okay, well, then I've got to figure out how much it is. I've got to do the math. And I feel like we're pretty good at this at our market, making things pretty simple pricing. It is, if you're getting asparagus, it's $4 a bunch. If you're getting apples, it's $5 for this box. So something simple, right? It makes it really easy for shoppers, for all shoppers. And last but not least, of course, benefits. So last year we did Maryland Market Money, which is where folks can match their benefits. So that means SNAP or EBT, the gold card as it's sometimes called, as well as Farmers Market Nutrition Program checks. So those were with WIC or with seniors. It's a great way to get more produce in people's hands and a great way to engage a wider community as well, making it more accessible for everybody. That's really what we're trying to do. So again, with that, signage is great if you do already accept it. If you're looking to accept it, I am happy to help. We're kind of learning all of this together. So please be patient with us. The first trainings that are coming up, if you're interested in being Farmers Market Nutrition Program and EWIC certified. So you get 2 benefits in one there. They do have some trainings coming up. The one for Southern Maryland is March 27th, I believe. It's in Charlotte Hall, I think. But there are several in there, even online if you want to do that. So take a look at it, see if it's of interest to you. And then coming out soon as well, we will have some more information on if you want to sign up for SNAP training too, to be able to accept that directly at your farm stand. So that means if you're at the market, great, we can all use it. Even if you're not at the market, you could use it at that point as well. So I went through all of that really fast and it's kind of a lot of stuff, but please feel free to take. I've got some stickers up here. If you want some lovely signs for your produce, we've got some of those to take. And like I said, pens too. This has some of our social media stuff on it if you're looking for some recipes or just what's going on. Otherwise, I will leave all of this here to peruse. Were there any questions off the bat, or what questions do you have? Awesome. All right. Well, I will pass it back over. Oh, microphone.
It's like passing the torch. And I'm sorry, I was busy taking pictures. And I don't know if Jessica mentioned it, but if you do have SNAP or WIC eligible products and you are part of our market, you are required to accept those nutritional benefits. It's not an optional thing. The reason for that is it's not about regulation. It's not about the government trying to make you do something. It's trying to make sure that the most nutritional produce gets out to the most people possible. So that's what that's about. Okay, any other questions? No, okay, sweet. Let's move on then. We'll go to the Small Business Development Center. I know a lot of you are doing this for the first time, which is really exciting. And by the way, congratulations. That's a crazy bold move. You're putting yourself out there on the stage and putting your product and yourself out in the hands of the public and of me. And thank you for that trust. I know a lot of stuff from talking with small businesses, but I am not an expert. That's where we go to our community representatives like Bill Hitte from the Small Business Development Center at CSM.
No, I'm not used to standing at a microphone, so trust me, but I know it's being recorded. She stole a bit of my thunder. I don't know if you saw the toys underneath my desk. There were some smart things. And what I know I'm walking away from this, but when you have a display up, I just want to put your item right below it if you have a handout. So this way you can tie what is in your display to here, unless you're doing the boxes or the other stuff, because this is what we do. I do not have ours. We have about 12 of these, but we are running an event today, a women's business event over in Waldorf. And so they absconded with all of my little showing toys to be able to do that. So, but we always have the item in one of those displays if you have space to do it. And you can also go in and then have this right below it so people can eyeball to go to see exactly what they want. Okay. Let me explain to you what I do and how I fit into the picture. This is actually our training schedule for the month of March. I'll touch base on that. The yellow one is information about our contact information. So let me tell you what the SBDC is. SBDC is actually a congressionally mandated program. It was set up about 40 years ago. The College of Southern Maryland is the local regional host. University of Maryland at College Park hosts statewide SBDC programs in all 50 states, Guam, Samoa, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. So part of our money comes from the federal government. Part of our money actually comes from the counties, your tax dollars, my tax dollars, and from the state. The federal money is required to be matched. So I'm actually a College of Southern Maryland employee, been with the CSM for almost 24 years now. I've been an SBDC consultant the whole time. And from that vantage point, my territory, quote unquote, is being the primary consultant for Charles County. However, I work with clients in all 3 counties down here, plus about 4 other ones. I've got clients in Anne Arundel, Montgomery. We have consultants who handle those regions. But because of my background in especially finance and business management, I get in touch with a lot of people. So I end up connecting with people across the state. So we have a lot of people who live in Charles County or Southern Maryland, but have businesses elsewhere and vice versa. So just so you know, from that vantage point, I'm giving you 2 perspectives today. I live in Charles County. My wife loves to come to the farmers markets, both here and in St. Mary's. Calvert, we don't get over to very much. occasionally, but we primarily look at Charles and St. Mary's as far as what she wants to look at. I go in as a business consultant because that's sort of what I do for a living. She goes in as a consumer, but then I'm an observer. Okay. So when I go in and I see things like, just as an example, what you see up here. But again, you all over the corner, you've got all the signs to be able to see. Somebody walking by your table or your spot, it's very hard for them to read that from 15 feet away. Okay. When you have something like this and you're walking 12 feet away from you, you're going to be able to see what it says. All right. So that's one of the things that's really, really important for you. I glance at that stuff. Some of my clients I will talk to. If you have a table, obviously you can do that. Others are mobile, so you don't have as much space to be able to do those things. I fully understand that. But again, image and presentation and information. And the other thing that I would tell you from my business consulting hat and also as a consumer is I would tell you to try to do something that is a La Plata Market special, okay, or something that is dedicated to this particular week whenever you're here. All right. The reason that is because my wife likes to come like every other weekend. All right. We sort of bounce back and forth. Well, she goes through and she's looking for stuff. And, every time, trust me, every time she turns, she says, "Oh, that's a special for this weekend. I'm going to walk over there." Okay. So if you have something a little bit different, put a little twist on something, just go through and market it and figure out a way to be able to put one of those jobs up, things like that. They also have the kind that are flat. These are like $7, okay, $8, but they have some that are flat that you can attach to or hang off of your tent. So you just have to be careful to make sure that they get mounted and don't swing around like some of them I've seen on windy days. So just as an example, okay. So from my vantage point, again, I work with normally pre-COVID, I was working with about 200 clients a year. Last year from July through June 30th, I worked with 357. I'm already at 400 so far this fiscal year. So what I'm getting calls about, a bunch of stuff that doesn't apply to you, but I will tell you, I get 2 calls a week from somebody who says, I want to sell my stuff that I make at home. Across the board. Most of you know what the rules are, right? But again, you got people who are doing stuff. Some of them are doing it not quite, I'll say not legally, okay? But again, it's not my job to tell on them. I just have to inform people, hey, this is what you need to do to make sure that these people, when they try to give you licenses and permits to do stuff, that you're already prepared to make sure you know what you do. Okay. So the other thing that I will share with you, that's a critical thing, and I know I have 10 minutes, so I've used what, 8 minutes already. Okay. There is a new regulation that just came out from Department of Treasury. It's called the Business Ownership Interest. You may not be aware of it. However, anybody who set up an LLC or a legal entity in Maryland or Virginia, wherever, since January 1, you have 90 days to fill this report out. Otherwise, the federal government's going to charge you up to $500 per day if you do not meet that requirement. Anybody who had legal entities that were set up before January 1 of this year, you have until January 1 of 2025 to be able to fill that in. Okay. My information is on the yellow form. Okay. This yellow sheet has contact information. We have regional consultants. Frank Clinton is our consultant based in St. Mary's. Katrina Briscoe is our consultant based in Calvert. Their information and contact information is on here. We also have Dan Rabarchik, who is our retail restaurant hospitality. He used to own several restaurants. His daughter still owns a couple. So he's available network wide. But I will tell you, for the BOI thing, it's critical, especially if you are setting up something and planning for this spring, because you have that short window to be able to get stuff done. All right. We can't help you fill it out because there's huge fines for people who provide incorrect advice. And we don't do tax or legal stuff. We sort of do it borderline, but I'm just wanted to make sure I was sharing with you because it's not what BOI. Okay. I can send you information. Just drop an email. What we'll take you to do, I get an email a day. So if you send me an email, I heard you at the Plata's Farmers Market meeting. Put that in the subject line, and then you can ask me whatever you want to in there, because that way I'll know if you send me something over the weekend. I I'm going in and looking at stuff next week. As soon as I see that, and obviously move your, you know, your nurse, things like that. All of our business consulting is at no cost. All of our business consulting is confidential. Okay, it is required by regulations. So we're basically a taxpayer grant from that vantage point. We have some folks in here who are clients. I'm not going to say who they are because I can't. Right? But from that vantage point, just understand that we're a resource to be able to help you. We can connect you with other folks. But again, the conversations that we have are confidential. Okay. All right. I'm just going to leave these up. I am going to stay for the rest of the meeting because I really want to hear what everybody's talking about and get a feel. So like I said, the yellow sheet has contact information. The white one is actually has a whole bunch. It's 3 pages, real short, but those are all of our online webinars. These are live presenters. Okay. And we vary them every month. They're only like 1 or 2, but our statewide training coordinator, she sits in on every one. So they have live presenters, and then we have a whole bucket list of online on demand that you can go in. Everything is no cost. All of our training, except for a few major programs, anything that's on that page, those pages is going to be current, and it's going to be no cost. Those you can feel free to come up and grab some. If you know of anybody who is Hispanic and does really speaks in Spanish, we have a dedicated Hispanic business center out of the University of Maryland at College Park. So if anybody needs that, I'll have some handouts I can give you if you want to share them with them for counseling assistance that can actually be in Spanish. That's not my shtick, unfortunately, but we do have resources to be able to do that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anybody have any dedicated questions? I'll be, like I said, I'll be here till the end. Is it okay if I take a couple of questions if they have any? Anybody have any questions? You're a real quiet group this morning. Okay. And as I said, couple coming in. Today is what day? March 2nd, right? Market opens when? April 6th. Do you want this weather today or do you want it on April 6th? Okay, think about it, right? Because I know we were over here talking. I think your first day last year got canceled because of the weather. Okay. And I was telling her, I've coached softball here in the county for 30 years. All right. So I know the weather issues. So very, very well experienced with all that. But again, going through being prepared, making sure your information is correct and current, make sure things are visible. Okay. For your customers. All right. Yes.
He's very helpful, making you think of things, making you more thinking, make sure they're aware of everything. So especially for anybody starting out, valuable resource, costing nothing, other than the time it takes to meet. So highly recommend it. What's your name?
That's the secret. So, but no, I mean, here, my big motto, and then I'll sit down after this, you don't know what you don't know until you find out you didn't know it. Okay, trust me, it happens in business all the time. That BOI thing I just told you, I guarantee most of you never even heard of it. Okay, but if you set up an LLC, state of Maryland is sending out reminders, but nobody reads the emails the state of Maryland sends out after you set stuff up. Okay, so again, that's really important to know that because you don't want to be paying U.S. Treasury Department $500 a day. Okay. All right. If you want information about that, like I said, just put that in there. You mentioned something about that ownership filing thing. Just email me, put that in there. I'll zinc because I've got automated emails for all that stuff. Thank you very much. Have a great season. I'll be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks, Bill. And while Jessica's making her exit, no, that's cool. So I'm sitting here on my phone subscribing to the SBDC newsletter just in case stuff like that is going to come through. I try to monitor that kind of stuff and alert vendors to that, but I can't keep track. I can't keep track of all my email, all the things I meddle in. So if you're sitting right here, go ahead and scan that QR code. It'll take you there. Go down to the bottom of the page and just put your email address in. Subscribe, done. All right. So next on our list is Charles County Department of Health, Kelly and Julie. And there were a lot of things in what Bill said and I want to comment on, but one of them was about compliance. And he didn't say compliance because it sounds ugly, but A lot of what Kelly and Julie do is compliance, and what I do is help you comply. But the reason for that is food safety and safety of the public. So it's just a thing. And if you get tired of hearing about food safety rules and you can't bring this and it has this weird ingredient, so you can't bring that, you can thank all the people who came before you and ruined it for everybody. They spoiled the party. So now we have more rules. And that's kind of how our market rules grew too. So anyway, that said, speaking, and can I bring something up for you? You want the cottage rules up? Okay.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kelli Wilkey. I am the Office Supervisor in the Environmental Health Specialist Division of the Charles County Department of Health. I'm the first line of communication for anybody who is looking to do cottage foods, or anybody who's looking to do a food truck. Food trucks do need to be licensed in Charles County. Do what?
Symbolism.
Okay.
But she is, just needs the bracelets and then lasso, but Wonder Woman.
So, but I am the first line of communication for anybody who wants to do any of that. I did bring cards with me today if anybody is interested in reaching out, if anybody's interested in doing cottage foods, if anybody is interested in a food truck, licensing a food truck, or even a storefront business. I'm the first point of contact for that. Julie is our environmental health program manager. She's supervisor for the division of food program, and she's the one who approves all the licenses and all that kind of good stuff. Did you want to say anything?
I'm sorry, my voice is not very good this morning, but yeah, so we, huh? Yeah, we do several programs in the county, not just food. But it's one of our probably our biggest program that we do.
Agreed.
And I don't know if anybody has any questions regarding cottage foods. That's something we get asked about a lot. One thing I do want to point out that isn't always real obvious when you're looking at the codes and the rules, and I know it's worse than reading. This is a really old joke. I'm dating myself here with the gray hair, but it's worse than reading stereo instructions. But yeah, the one thing that I find confuses people a lot between um, selling other things or having like a food truck or something like that and doing cottage food is the two can't mix. So if you are a cottage food vendor, you are not a licensed vendor. And if you are a licensed vendor, you don't do cottage food. Because having a being a licensed entity sort of precludes you from doing cottage food because that is something you do without a license. But you do have to meet the requirements of what cottage food is to qualify. So, and some people even do cottage food at retail, which is something a little bit beyond. For that, you do have to go past us, and you have to kind of interact some with Baltimore MDH. So, just to let you know, if you're thinking big and you want to do cottage food at retail, you'll actually have to reach out to MDH. So, any questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so cottage food that's a good question because a lot of people hear that word a lot, but they don't know what it actually means. Cottage food is, oh, sorry, I'm having the worst allergies in the world and I don't know why. Cottage food basically is food that you are allowed to prepare in your residential kitchen. I know that's the thing you said. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. It is in a very, and especially in Maryland, in a very rigid format. It is. So, generally, cottage food would be a lot of things that when they are finished and ready to be sold, they are completely shelf stable and require no refrigeration. And they are already packaged before they come to like the farmer's market. And yeah, and they are labeled in compliance with MDH guidelines because you can have met everything else, but if they're not properly labeled, um, it falls under an unapproved food source, and
you can't sell. So the labeling is something that tends to be the sticking point for a lot of people. And there is really good guidance on the MDH website about labeling. And of course, if you contact our office, we have all the documents and guidances from that we can just email directly to you, because I know some of the government websites, they're huge. And if you're not really good about searching on them, it can be a little hard to get to the right page, but we can certainly email those things directly to you. And they have some very good examples about how to do the labeling. It's not as bad as you think. The thing a lot of people where they go wrong is they leave off the last little finishing touch, which is a cottage food statement that basically states that this is a cottage food and it is not regulated under other food control laws. So that is true. So the farmer's market's a perfect place to sell it, but there are, you can't just sell cottage food anywhere. You can sell it from your home. And in some cases, they can even be sold through the mail or by pickup, but they cannot cross state lines. So that is a big one. You can get in trouble for sending stuff across state lines. So, yes, sir. Okay, so right, so cottage food, so a very commonly seen cottage food, for example, would be like cookies, chocolate chip cookies, cottage food, um, cupcakes with sugar-based icing on them, breads, that don't require, they don't have any weird fillings or anything, breads, um, a lot of jellies, jams, and fruit butters can be, but there is a list of which fruits are permitted because they have to have a certain pH. That's one of the biological controls that we look for in cottage food is it either has to have a low enough pH, it has to be acidic enough to be safe, or it has to have a low enough water activity level, or both. Both is even better.
The list
Um,
that's up on the screen is a list
Yeah.
of what's acceptable as cottage
Yeah.
foods. It's over here.
Yeah. And we do get a lot of people that kind of push the envelope. Please don't. Please don't. If it's not on the list, you're probably not. Although I did have a fellow a while back that kind of had a product that he made and he was upset about it because soft breads are not allowed, or what they call quick breads or wet breads. Um, so anything that's not acidic like zucchini, pumpkin, sweet potato, that's like, yeah, no. Plus they're real sugary. And he complained that he made apple bread. And so at a meeting with the state, I said, so what's the deal with apple bread? And I kind of argued for him because I was like, you let him make everything else out of apples because apples are acidic. And they said, well, if they can provide a testing that shows that it's 4.6 or less, we'll let it go. And so sometimes if you have something that's on the edge, we can work with you. So don't think that it's just a no, but it has to be within reason. But yeah, the list is pretty comprehensive. I know that some states have a little bit more lax laws. We hear that a lot. And Maryland does have kind of a strict cottage food rule. We do not allow any acidified foods. So pickles and stuff like that are totally out. Not only can you not do those at cottage food, you can't do those on the local level. You have to go through MDH to do acidified foods. And you know that. It's like we have to go through a lot to do that. So, yes, ma'am. Okay, so the interesting thing about what we do is we do not regulate pet food. So if our code, if you want to, if anyone really wants to be bored a whole lot, or depending on how interested, if you want to read our code, most of what we falls under COMAR 101503. And one, you'll find that as you go through the definitions, it says food for human consumption. They say that a lot, food for human consumption. I also want to put this out there because this seems to be a sticking point too, is cottage food is never, ever, ever a beverage. Not ever. And that's mostly because of water activity, because it's a beverage, it's liquid. So they would never allow it. So, because we get a lot of people try and sneak that in there, but no kinds of beverages. So are there any questions? And it doesn't have to be on cottage food. It can be on something else. It can be another food question. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so that's a very good question because I mean, the reality is a lot of people just don't like putting their address out there because, I mean, yeah, sometimes you get really negative attention that way, and not because of anything you did wrong, just because there's some folks out there that apparently don't have anything better to do. But yes, you would need to reach out to MDH for that. They can give you what they call a unique ID number. If you're doing cottage food, you will see a lot of people that do cottage food at retail do that, but you don't have to be doing it at retail. You can just be doing regular cottage food and you can apply to them for a unique ID number, and you can actually put that on your labels in place of your address and all of that. So absolutely, that's a very good point. Anything else? Yes, sir. Honestly, and this is going to shock a lot of people, expiration dates are kind of like, the reality is if you go all the way up to FDA, they only put expiration dates on one thing, and that's baby formula. All other expiration dates are like whatever the company picks. I hate to tell you that, but that's the reality. We have that we can enforce that, and the sell by date, not the use by, not the expiration date, but the sell by date at retail on grade A liquid milk. Any other expiration or use by date is at a company's discretion, except for bottled juices that have not been pasteurized. Those are supposed to have a date on them from the time they're packed to be used within 7 days. Whether you do that or not is up to you, but they have to put that date on there. Because generally, with all good retail practices in place, and if it's kept under refrigeration, it should last 7 days. That's a yes, ma'am. So, yeah. So that's, I mean, if I mean, you can put a best by date if you want on your products, because if you want your customers to be happy and to know like, hey, this is going to have the best flavor and best texture within, 3 or 4 days of purchase, then sure, you can put that on there if you want, because you want them to be happy and you think, well, if it sits around for more than, 4 days, it won't be the freshest. So, but that's purely up to you. Sure.
Any other questions? Okay.
And if not, give us a call. You can, she's gonna leave some cards for you to reach us. And I think the main number's on your card.
The main number's not on.
Is not, main number's not on there. If you
But I'm gonna
contact, if, a lot of times when people look up the phone number for the health department, they'll get our main building line. And that is not exactly where you want to call, because we're in a separate building. So if you do call in, or you Google the number and it gives you something like, I think it's the 6900 number, ask for environmental health, because we have main health, or what I call human health building, and then we have the environmental health building. So just let them know to transfer you to environmental health, because that's, we're the ones that do food pools and
Or you
camps and
can pick a
campgrounds.
card.
Yeah, or you can, she's got a bunch of cards, you can grab a card. Because she is our first line of contact. That's why we call her Wonder Woman, because she's over there just sending things in every direction all day long. Sometimes I feel like she has at least 8 arms. I don't know how she does it. I'm not always there. I'm like out in the field doing stuff. So yeah. So sometimes people get a little aggravated with me because I am a little slow sometimes getting back to folks, but that's because they run me all over the county. So I'm all over the place.
Yes, you are.
All right. Anything else? Any questions on any food, any kind of? All right, we're good. All right. If you think of one, please give us a call.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
You wish I'd stop.
Yeah, I actually do contact Kelly and Julie quite a bit. So, for transparency purposes, we are networking all the time. People come to me all the time and go like, can I sell this at the market? And I go, is it on the list? Because it's not on the list. The answer is probably going to be no. And then I'm going to need to hear from county health that that is okay. So let you know ahead of time. All right, everybody good so far? Because now, all right. So other community resources that we connect with besides University of Maryland Extension, Department of Health, Small Business Development Center, Charles County Food Connection, they're out of Lifestyles of Maryland. They're the ones who actually have the food access coordinator at our market, and they distribute Maryland market money. And they also provide information for our underserved populations on nutrition, housing, all the programs that Lifestyles of Maryland handles. They'll give information about that too. So they're a super community resource that we have at the market. We're so lucky every Wednesday and every Saturday. The Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission, some of you may know them. They do things with it throughout the region, supporting local agriculture, and also throughout Maryland now because their mission has kind of grown. The Charles County Economic Development department. They do have a small business section. She wasn't able to be here today, but definitely look out for them, especially for programs like BGAP for your small business growth. We have some graduates in our market, but they're still working on that, and they have different programs for different businesses at different times. So another one, you'll probably want to go to Charles County Economic Development, Meet Charles County is their website, and subscribe to their newsletter because they'll give you updates on small business items as well. The Plata Business Association, if you are located in La Plata within the town limits, you're eligible for membership. You can check out their website as well. And the Farmers Market Coalition is a national organization that supports farmers markets all over the place. So they do a lot of promotion of farmers markets in general and their importance to the community. All right, before we move on, because we're going to start talking about the market specifically. Here we are, we're 45 minutes in. Okay, we're doing good. If you have not signed in, there are 2 sign-in sheets up here at the front, and they're both the same. So when you get a chance, please do that. So remember next year, we'll go like, oh, this is awesome. We're going to do that again, and we're going to need more seats. There's also some pens and paper up there. So if you have questions during this, I don't want to say presentation, but while I'm yammering up here, if you have questions, please feel free to take some paper, write it down. And when we get to the end, we'll do questions and answers because I want to be respectful of all your time, although I did book you for 2 hours, so good luck. So our market, if you've been to a pop-up market before, that's great. We're not a pop-up market. I mean, we do pop up, sure, but it is a lot more than that. And that's what comes up right here in this first column. We are a local farming outlet. This is a direct sales for farmers directly to the community and to the public. We're a community event and a gathering place. So we do have a lot of rules to support that. And you may not like some of them. You may not like me. I'm not for everybody. I tell people that all the time. So if you don't like the way the market is being managed, it's probably my fault. So I'll just put that out there. It's also a town-sponsored event. So our market, it is funded by the town of La Plata, which means we're subject to all the town codes, all of them, and then extra ones as well, because we have all the county, federal, the state ones. We have a lot of rules, and they're not all ours. So again, if you like the kind of free independent market where you just pop up and sell stuff and then go home, you probably don't want to come. I'm just saying. Okay. We are a tourist destination. We are the winningest farmers market in Southern Maryland, according to the Southern Maryland, what do they call it now? Southern Maryland News, best of the best. That's us. I think 3 years running. I don't hang on that because every year we try to tweak it and make it a little bit better because there is always room for improvement, guaranteed, which is where our rules reviews come in. Tourist destination. I think I just said that, but also Charles County puts us on their tours and stuff all the time. So if they're talking about farmers markets, they're talking about ours. And we are the only farmers market in Charles County, so there's that. And a small business incubator, and you hear all about that from Bill. And a lot of people had their first time selling, first time setting up their tables at our market. And I love it. It is probably the best part of, I don't know, that's a hard one. Whatever the best part is, it's one of the best parts is to see someone who sets up a table the first day. And then the next time they come back to market, they got a tablecloth and it's got their logo on it. It's awesome. And then they had enough to maybe put up a tent. Maybe they get one with a logo on it. No, it's pretty gutsy. But as it grows and watching those businesses grow it feels so good for everybody. And to see those people then grow out, and we have had businesses start at the farmers market and end up in brick and mortars, some of them in La Plata, some of them not. But to see that growth of a business is fantastic. It's like watching kids grow. Not my kids, I know, but it's like that. The other things over here in the italics, because it's kind of downplaying them, it's a lot like a shopping center. We have opening hours. They are hard opening hours. You are open at 9, you stay until 2, you stay sold up until 2. If you sell out before 2, you stay until 2, and you stay set up until 2. We've obviously had problems. Almost every rule we have comes up because we had problems, and now we had to clarify it. So now we have 6-7 pages of rules just for that reason. I had 2/3 of a page of rules. Thanks for group projects. Our market is a lot like a homeowners association, and you may not like your neighbors. It's okay. We can work it out most of the time. If you have disagreements with your neighboring vendors, we can see about moving you. But there are an agreed set of standards for the market. And when you sign the application, you agree to those standards. If you don't like those standards, you probably don't want to sign up. And I don't want to discourage anybody from signing up. Everybody wants to take a shot at it, but it may not be what you're thinking. That's why we have daily permits required at the beginning. But we'll talk about that later. Learning experience, I think I've talked about that. I will keep talking about that. It's such a learning experience, especially those first 2 markets you come to. You're going to learn a lot about setting up and about having those taped down, because every surface is going to pick up wind, and printing things with a laser jet instead of an inkjet. All of these things, you're going to learn so much just in those first 2 days and for years to come. We have vendors who have come for years and they learn something new next time. Oh, well, that didn't work. Or somebody brought something new, which is awesome. It's that diversity of thought. And we go like, ooh, that is a great idea. I'm going to do that next time. So local government, this is the market economy. You've heard the market economy. This is local government at its best. Our vendors have a voice in how we run the market, and they run that voice through the elections, through the elected vendor representatives. We have a market committee. I chair it, but I only vote at times to break a tie. Okay. Otherwise, for every category of vendor, I'm talking to our committee to see if this is how we want to go. It's seasonal vendors, you get a vote. As daily vendors, if you're just going to come every once in a while, you don't get a vote so much. But I am always open to suggestions, criticism, as much as anybody's open to criticism. But we always try to reflect those things. And honestly, I think we're doing pretty well as far as working all those things in. We had very few rule changes this year. And the group project, everybody's favorite. We're all in that together. Why we have so many rules about attendance and why you have to stay there is help you, by being there, help your neighbor. Okay, when people come by and they see tents lined up next to each other and people there, they want to come. They know it's open. They want to come be a part of it. If you're packing up your stuff, you're letting your fellow vendors know you don't actually care about them. It's all about you. And you got to look out for yourself. That's fair. There are exceptions. There are emergencies where you got to go. But most of the time, we're all in this together. Okay. So if you don't feel this, please don't sign up. And I have expectations of vendors who come. Please, I hope you will feel this. Any questions about that so far? Group project. Nobody likes a group project. Okay, has anybody not been to the market before? Okay, wow. All right, so this slide is for you. Okay, so where is our market? It's right behind, this is the Charles County Courthouse building. On Saturdays, we're in this parking lot, the bigger parking lot. On Wednesdays, right now, we're in the smaller overflow parking lot north of Talbot Street. There's going to be a new public library opening up over here, and I hear, and I'm just letting all y'all know now, we may need to move the Wednesday market, but not anytime soon. That's still way in advance. But for the returning vendors who've been counting on that forever, that may change. So the Wednesday market is a smaller market, generally serves people at lunch. It used to be heavily for the government workers in the Charles County Courthouse building and in the government building. Now we get families, homeschoolers, everything changed after COVID. So we've changed the layout a little bit. We're going to try something new. I mean, new-ish. It's kind of a combination of the past couple of years of layouts. But we do have the Charles County Mobile Library coming every Wednesday until Labor Day, I want to say. So again, with the community resources and as far as a community setting, this is the kind of community setting that we really enjoy. It's a farmer's market with our community partners. On Saturdays, we have the double-sided one. I had this laid out with this many vendors. We don't have that many signed up. This is just for planning purposes. So I think almost every year we end up moving our vendors around. Kind of gives people want to try a new place. What worked last year is not going to work this year. People are downsizing, people are growing. It changes. And then Molly's, we just move all the time because I enjoy it. They always find the tent. But your customers will be able to find you as seasonal vendors. I will try very hard not to move you ever once we've assigned you a spot, unless you ask me to, because this is one of those learning experiences. You sit here for, say you're sitting in spot 14 until summer hits, and then the sun is blazing. And then you find out your products are like your baked goods are sweating, and you go like, I really need to be facing the other way. As much as I can, I will accommodate that, but you got to tell me, okay? If you have a generator, some of our products have, some of our vendors need generator for their storage. We're going to put you on the outside, on the fringes of the market. Like the food trucks, they're definitely on the fringes of the market because part of going to the market is having conversations with people about your product. And really, you can't sell your product if you're being drowned out by a generator. So that's why the food trucks are out on the side. Any questions about the layout so far or anything? Yes. Wednesday market's 9 to 2. Saturday is also 9 to 2. We monkeyed around with a lot of different hours. We thought we were going to get a night market going. Nope, never happened. So the market staff, that would be me and Shanoa. We had Ashley last year. We had magic ARPA money to pay for that, but we can't do that anymore. So Shanoa gets the full. She'll be seeing you out there on Wednesdays and Saturdays. We are both appointed by the town of La Plata. We work with the vendors. I'm here both at the market and outside the market. I can't remember the last time I went to an event and didn't go like, hey, why aren't you at my market? We do a lot of networking that way. We're also working with the existing vendors and with the market committee. We do public relations. There's a whole list of things that we do. We really do a lot of stuff. You just don't see it so much necessarily. If you see great pictures on our social media, it's Shanoa. If you see naggy emails, that's me. That's how that works. And we work with the market committee. So just our market committee is all volunteers, and we depend on the on-site coordinators to give us that day-to-day input, because I'm not at the market every day. Okay, I'm there a lot. I'm there a lot of days, but I'm not there all day every market day. So that's where I depend on Shanoa to let me know what's going on, and for the market committee to tell me where their concerns are. And what does the town of La Plata have to do with the farmers market? So much, mostly the money. It's a lot of that. The farmer's market was created by town code. That's why it belongs to the town. They fund our staff and operations. They provide all the support. Yes, and it does say Porta-John. One of the things we provide is a Porta-John. That's it. It's a Porta-John. So if you don't use a Porta, two, yeah, okay, I will take that and into the budget and see if that will fit into there. So supplies and equipment, reproduction, purchasing, safety equipment, all that's provided by the town. You'll also, when you apply, your permit goes through the town for payment and for approval. Logistics, we have a storage trailer and a dumpster. That's another thing that as market vendors you're allowed to use is our dumpster. Other people use it. They're not supposed to, but whatever. And then we have a memorandum of understanding with Charles County as far as the use of the parking lots, because those parking lots don't actually belong to the town of La Plata. They belong to Charles County. So we're like renters and we need to be good tenants, because if they get tired of us, then we have no market. We have nowhere to put it. And there aren't a lot of open spaces in La Plata. So please be good tenants, all of us together. Any questions so far? Sure. Mm-hmm. So the seating that's provided is provided by Charles County. I mean, we can talk to them, but as far as what they will allow to be permanently located on their property is really up to them. So even if we were willing to pay for it, which again, it's another budget thing, they may not want us to do that. But I can definitely ask about that. BJ Bowling is a farmer in his background, and he has been very supportive of the farmers market, so he may be worth petitioning for that. So, okay, yes, noted. Okay, Porta-Johns and tables. Gotcha. Community engagement. We do have a market committee, as I said. Our vendor representatives, we have farmers and food and produce, like farm products. We have food truck representatives, and our other categories. So that's like cottage food, bath and body products, anything that doesn't fit into farm products or food trucks fits under other. And Yara, Sam's back here. Yara has the biggest group of other vendors. The reason we have those vendors is we look at the product balance. So whatever you're proposing to bring to market, if it fits in the other category, for instance, I'm going to talk to Yara and go like, here's who we have who's doing this already. Can we fit another one in? So you may have a fantastic product, but if we already have 5 vendors selling it, we're probably not going to find room for you, or you just won't be able to come on a seasonal permit, which is not bad. There's a lot of strategies to scheduling, but I will always check with the vendor representatives first before I approve any applications from new vendors. Our 2 community representatives, Jessica Conjour and Craig Hauer, the market manager appoints both of them there to provide that perspective from the community, from not vendors. They are not farmers market vendors. They don't run small businesses. So when I need an objective opinion, because we get all wrapped up in rules and what does it look like and what's the attendance policy, they can go like, well, we like when we see more signage. We like when we see, this thing concerns us and we would like live music more. They give me a lot of perspective from that way. Rules and bylaws, we do have the market rules that are with the application, and we have some operating, they're not really bylaws, they're operating instructions for how we elect our vendor representatives and our community representatives, and then what kind of procedures we'll do in case of discipline, because that happens, and then how often, what the representatives are expected to do in their jobs. Those are more in the operating procedures. As far as what we do day to day at the market, almost all of that is laid out in the market rules, and there are a lot of them. Sorry, that's community outreach. So I mentioned the Charles County Food Connection, and we have information booths from various nonprofits from time to time. We don't allow them more than once. We had nonprofits who wanted to come every market day, and we just can't do that for every nonprofit. So they do have to be a 501c3. They do have to be verifiable, and we have limitations on what kind of content can be provided. There are a lot of 501c3s out there whose content would conflict with the market. Like, for example, if PETA wanted to come, PETA, that would definitely conflict with our market mission. So we probably wouldn't approve that. And when nonprofits apply to come, in case you know anybody who's thinking about it, when they apply to come, it goes to the market committee. And we scrub that and go and we discuss all of the possibilities of could this be offensive to somebody? Anyway, I'm talking too much about that. Sponsorship opportunities. There are commercial groups that want to come and advertise at the market that don't have any marketable products. They just want to advertise their services. That's a hard no. But if you can't qualify to come and sell at the market, you can sponsor a nonprofit to come. We had Pure Play Every Day coming last year when they had sponsors, so that's an option, and they can put up a sign and advertise that your company sponsored this at the farmers market. So that's an option. So if you're fall into one of those categories, we've had plumbing, HVAC, all kinds of services want to come advertise. Sorry, no. Yeah. What kind of factors affect the market? Like everything. Bill mentioned the rain. I am so glad it's raining today, honestly, because if it were sunny, you would think, oh, it's always going to be good at the market, and you get that mindset. It's not. It's really not. We have a lot of days like this, and we are open, rain or shine. Sometimes more rain than shine. So when we talk about the things that affect the markets, like everything in our community, in your environment, what you need out of the market, how the vendors are conducting themselves. If they are not behaving, they're being nice to each other, that's going to affect the market. I'm not going to go through all of these, but let me just say, everything on here will affect your business. If you can't get along with your neighbor and it's ugly, people don't want to be about that. They're going to find somewhere else to be. You're not going to sell your product. It really comes down to a lot of that. Also, it doesn't make it fun. It is very unfun to be with people that you don't like and you can't get along with. So whenever possible, please, by all means, if you're having conflicts, please talk to Shanoa. If it needs to be addressed immediately, email me, talk to me. Chances are there's a really good chance I'm going to be at the market anyway. Come talk to me. We'll figure it out. Okay. How things look, how things flow. If there's the county fair, if there's Vikings Con, which I guess there won't be now. There could be a arts fest down in St. Mary's or not in St. Mary's, but in Calvert, and everybody goes to that and all of a sudden they're not here. That's almost a game for us. It's like, what's keeping people away? Why are they not here this week? So yeah, you could start a pool, start some bets on why they were, but it's always a mystery. And the weather for sure, competing events. Yeah. The town vision codes and council, they do have a say in how we conduct the market and who we're going to have at the market, what kind of products we're going to have at the market. So CBD is legal, cannabis is not. If that comes up, by the way. Any questions? Sorry, it's a lot. Right? All right. Yay, you made it to part 2. Okay, so what's new at the market? Those are all like the standard things. What's new at the market this year? We do have a seasonal calendar. We have some events on it. There were a few rule changes. We have the certified grower program and the fees. So our market season runs April 10th. So you can read. I don't have to read that to you. This is all over our Facebook page, our Instagram, our website. The Wednesday market is only open until Labor Day because we have found over the years that once the kids go back to school, people aren't coming out to the market. It's just hard that way. But Saturdays continue to be good all the way through the Saturday right after Thanksgiving. So Small Business Saturday, which is like the last hurrah. We work 9 to 2 on both market days. We have Charles County Mobile Library coming in on Wednesdays and first Saturdays through August. I mean, they also, yeah, I mean, they'll stop coming on Wednesdays because we close the market. And then on Saturdays, they stop in August when school starts as well. This is way too much on one page, sorry, but these are all the events that we have planned this year. So opening day on Saturday, Wednesday, market elections. We're proposing a wine fest this year. Somebody made a suggestion for local wines. King Kamehameha Day, Hawaiian Shirt Day, Stars and Stripes weekend, which sadly is the 6th, but we're probably about the Stars and Stripes, right? Buy Local Challenge, which is something that's sponsored by the small Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission, SMATIC is just, when I say that, it's ag. So, and the Junior Edition Farmers Market, which is sponsored by Shinoa. So that was a new thing last year, and it was super popular, and the participants all said they wanted to come back, so we're doing it again. I say we, it's Shinoa. Farmers Market Week in August, Food Truckapalooza, which was an accident last year. That was my bad, but it turned out really cool. It was a food truck festival. I mean, and that was a lot. And I'll be honest, I didn't think the food trucks were going to do as well as they did, but almost all of them sold out. So that was amazing. Fall Fest in September. I'm painting pumpkins. Come paint with me. Oktoberfest is a new thing. We're gonna just see if we can do that for beer and spirits. I've heard that Charles County likes those things. Trick or treating is something that started during COVID and has been solid every year. So I'm sorry, I'm going to save that for the end. And then Small Business Saturday, which is the last market day of the season. We also have some promotions on the fly. Every once in a while, something will come up and we go like, we should do that. So vendor specials and crossover collaboration. When you can cross products with somebody is selling these tomatoes and they're making, not tomato pie, that wouldn't be cottage food, but you know what I'm saying. So there's opportunities to collaborate with your fellow businesses. Appreciation days come up all the time. You can do those on your own. You don't have to coordinate that with the market. If you want to give a discount to first responders on their day, by all means. And if you're going to advertise that, definitely do. And we will echo it on the farmers market social media. And then national days and weeks, national day, there's a national day for everything. I love all of them. But if you want to use that as a promotional item, that's definitely something you can do. As far as participation in our events, you are never required to do anything for those events, but it does make it a lot more fun. When everybody gets dressed up for Stars and Stripes weekend, or when everybody's wearing the Hawaiian shirts, it makes it more fun. It makes it more, it's better for the visitors, and because they can dress up too. But you, as small businesses, we never want to ask you to put out money that will cut into your profits if you don't want to do it. Okay, so trick or treat day, you just want to dress up, you're not going to hand out candy, totally fine. I will warn you that they're going to come ask you for candy anyway. So, said totally optional. We don't want to cut into your profits. Sorry, any questions about events? Okay, cool. So rule changes. We did have a couple of changes. It was more of a rephrasing of vendor vehicles. We've been trying for years to get really good, clear rules on vehicles in the marketplace. Generally, vehicles that are not required for operations are not allowed to be in the marketplace during the market. They need to be out of the market by 8:45. And if they're not, if I'm there, I'm knocking on windows. Shinoa will be on you going like, so can you move that vehicle out, please? Because it's 8:45. This is partially, it's mainly a safety issue, but if we're going to open at 9, there are people walking around before that, guaranteed. 8:30, sometimes 8 o'clock, because they can't they still think the market opens at 8. So customers walking around, they're looking at tables. They're not looking at vehicles. They don't expect vehicles to be there. They want to walk around and shop and do that safely. Okay, so that's why we need those vehicles out of there. For the aesthetics, it also doesn't look cool when it looks like a parking lot in the market. So there were some updates, some changes of wording as that as far as the food trucks and what kind of vehicles can be in the market during the market hours. Craft guidelines. This is one of those things we have been adapting this every year because the crafts are so hard. There is a wide swath of what is a craft. And I'm going to apologize to anybody here if I turn down your craft, and you would not be the first one. And it's not that there's anything wrong with your craft. I don't like your craft. There's lots of things that I would like to see at the market that don't fit into our rules. Cheese mainly, but there are crafts that are great quality products, but not for our market. This is not that venue. So we are looking for those one of a kind, artisanal kind of crafts. If it's something that can be printed, a million identical, we're not really interested. So this is where the 3D printers came in, and there's other duplicating machines. I know there's CNC, there's laser cutters. You can use that stuff, but only for embellishment. You want to sell your product, not the laser copied design on your product. Your product is great. Love it. We don't want a million of them. Okay. Maryland market money. We talked about the change to, we're transitioning to, did we talk about the transition to e-incentives? We've been using tokens. Maryland market money uses tokens, and there's a whole lot of tracking involved, and they have to swipe the card. And this is for SNAP and FMMP. It's a whole process for those farmers who can participate in that, and not all of them do. So that process actually is going to involve, I'm sorry to say this, more homework for our farmers and producers. But ultimately, it's going to mean that that money that comes from Maryland market money and SNAP and WIC all goes directly to the farmer and the producer, and not through the town of La Plata. I am the government. I'm telling you, you don't want the government involved in that. You know, as much as possible, cut the government out of handling your money. You're going to pay enough taxes as it is and having a lot of expenses. This just makes it easier for you to get your money faster. Okay, and get produce, healthy and nutritional produce, in the hands of people who need it. So no changes to the market hours of operation, no changes to our attendance policy. You are allowed a certain number of absences if you sign on as a seasonal vendor. At a certain point, you just go like, look, do you really want to be here? Because maybe you need to rethink your schedule. And I have done that with vendors before. They signed up seasonal, they didn't realize what they were getting into, and they stopped showing up, and I'll reach out to them and go like, maybe you want to come once a month, and we can schedule that regularly. That's fine. But you got to tell me. Okay? Don't ghost me, because if you do, I'm never answering your email again. I'll just public safety and hygiene related rules, those never change. We don't make them. Between the town, county, state, federal, we follow all of those. So the ADA compliance, that's a federal rule. We have to follow those. Okay. I'm still thinking, I got it. Porta John, still in my head. Okay. Any questions about rule changes? And all those changes are reflected in the new rules. So this is totally new this year, and I'm very excited about it. The Certified Grower Program. This is a voluntary program that grew out of our market committee. I did not bring this on. They're one of those rare times where the government didn't come up with a new rule. This really was a vendor initiative. So we're trying this as a pilot program this year. And if you are a producer, if you're growing produce, fruits or vegetables, and selling that produce at the market, your customers want to know where it came from, how was it grown, what's in my food. I mean, that's really the question, what's in my food. So this is a voluntary inspection program. There will be a sign on those vendors who have the certification. That means that a volunteer inspector went out to their farm, saw their operation and saw what they were doing and went, yes, they are definitely growing their own stuff. The producers are not required to do this. That's the voluntary part. Okay, so when you go to the market and you see this logo, this certified grower logo, that's what that means. They're growing 100% of the produce that they're selling. And the reason for that is it is crazy hard to grow stuff, right? I have tried to grow tomatoes, I don't know how many years. No, I just quit. It's too much work. It's too much discipline. So for those who are growing their own stuff, this is a program to recognize that work. Any questions about the certified grower program? Ma'am. Geography, not pedigree. So it's not organic certification, if that's what you're asking. We do have, right. No, we're not qualified to do that, and we don't have volunteers who would do that. So yes, who's growing your food? That does it. So that's kind of pedigree, right? Is that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but we do have market rules about produce must be grown within 100 miles of the market. So when I think geography, that's what I'm thinking. This one is about reselling. We get a lot of questions about reselling produce. So that's how that grew out. Yeah. Market fees. Okay. So our fees right now have not changed. It's still $10 on a Wednesday for a daily, 20 on a Saturday for a daily, and then 75 and 120. The main thing here is why this is in the changes when I just said they didn't change is they may change mid-season. So up until now, this is going to be so boring for you, I'm sorry. Up until now, our farmers market has been run along a seasonal budget calendar, but it does belong to the town. So to track expenses, we have to align our budget to the town's budget calendar, which runs from July 1st to June 30th. So we didn't track the expenses real hard, and up until now, it's really just been like, we really just want to support, the town really wants to support small businesses and provide this incubator space. Now we have to look at how much is it costing to run this, because as stewards, as responsible stewards of our taxpayers' money, we need to know what we're spending it on. And we've been really loosey-goosey up until now. Now we're going to get responsible with it. So starting in July, you may see a raise in the fee. If you sign up, if you become a seasonal vendor before that, then you won't see that. It'll just be $120. And then next year, it'll be the higher rate probably. Any question about the fees? Sir? On the amount of increase. So I do not know that at this moment. We are right in the middle of the budget drafting season, and I am not a budgeter. So I have to have our treasurer interpret all that for us. In talking with the market committee, we felt like a raise up to $150, no more than $150 per season would be reasonable. It may be that the raise has to be more than that. If you have been at any other event, you'll probably know even $150 is kind of cheap. So we'll work to not make it shocking mid-year. But like I said, if you're already a seasonal vendor, it won't affect you this year. Okay. All right. So this is what you really came here for. You don't care what I think about the community. You want to know how to apply. This surprisingly has not changed that much since 2020, the last time we did this. So do your homework. Health department, all the regulations. If I will have these slides available if you want, so you can go to that page on Maryland Health, look at the guidelines, look at the labeling guidelines. They have a million resources on there for setting up your cottage food business. I do not regulate business licenses. I should know this by now, but in the application, you'll see that all vendors are required to follow all the guidelines. I don't monitor your business license. If you need a business license, you need to talk to Bill about how do you get that. So do all your homework. Make sure it does fit within our guidelines. Check our product guidelines. We're pretty specific about that stuff. And if you're not sure if your product fits into our guidelines, give me a call or send me an email. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go back. So read the market rules, especially the parts relevant to your product. You may find that you look at the rules and go like, oh, well, I can't sell that. Okay, like we don't have Tupperware vendors, any kind of MLM products. We don't have any of that. Visit the market and talk with Shanoa or with me. We'll talk all day long, I promise. We'll try and find all the answers, and if we can't, then we're going to learn something too. So thanks. Submit your vendor permit application at least a week prior for a daily. You're better off, because I've met me, you're better off doing it a couple weeks in advance. Sometimes if my email inbox gets away from me. So email it to me or deliver it here at Town Hall. And then if you're approved, after I've already talked to the vendors and you're approved, then we'll set up a date for you to come. Okay, don't send any fees with the form the first time. You'll get an email notification from me, and then you can pay the fees either. Actually, I should have fixed that. Sorry, Shanoa. You can pay the fees at the market. You can pay it to me. You can drop it off in Town Hall in an envelope. Hopefully, I am told that we will be having electronic payment options, and you'll be able to do that through the town website. I am told by July. I'll knock on all the wood. I would love not to handle your money, honestly. So keep an eye out for that for e-payment. That'll be much easier, and you'll be able to submit the application through our town website as well. Okay, you made it. Look at that. So introductions, community resources, meet the market, market news, the application process, and the very dangerous Q&A. I didn't see anybody take any paper. Yes, what you got? Like, do I schedule your daily? No. I don't know what your schedule is like. So a daily permit, because I know it is confusing. So the question was about daily permits versus seasonal permits and how do they get scheduled. So I don't know what your schedule is like. A daily schedule is good for one day. And you can, on your application, you can write in there, I would like these days. I may not be able to get you in those days. And then we would work out what days we could get you there, assuming your application is approved. Okay, so that would be the $10 or the $20 fee. For the seasonal permits, I don't know, did I need to explain the seasonal permits? That's for the entire season. Okay. Oh, yeah, how do you let me know what days you want to come? If you have dates in mind already that you would like to come, go ahead and write it on your application when you send it. And then I'll look at those dates and see if that works. That actually makes it easier for me to schedule it because if we have already 5 soap vendors, we'll say, on a particular day that you wanted to be there, I go like, sorry, I can't schedule it on that day. But how about this other one? Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely.
Just want to let you know, just some inside information. I told you I'm a CSM employee right now. And it was interesting because when she was talking about the Wednesday market, CSM right now is hosting homeschoolers. The building that I'm in the continuing education building, there are 7 classrooms that have about 25 to 30 kids in them every day. And they have 2 sessions. They run a 9 a.m. session and they run another session that starts at 12 noon. Those parents go somewhere after they drop their kids off because there is no bus service. So if you are in the market on Wednesday and you have social media, you want to bombard and say, hey, I'm there. And if you happen to be, you have to understand who your target market is. Okay. Which is a whole nother conversation. But I just want to, and once school gets out, and I know you referenced that, once school gets out, the college runs kids college. And there are like 1,000 kids on campus during the day. And again, basically most of those shifts. So if you have products that are targeting people who have kids, I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So that's the one good thing. The other thing I wanted to mention, SMATEC's been mentioned a couple of times. I'm actually the College of Southern Maryland's representative on the SMATEC commission. So I've been doing that for the past 18 years. So for those of you that have questions regarding the cottage foods, SMATEC has created several really good things on cottage foods. They just did one in conjunction with the health department on February 22nd. That webinar is available at no cost. So if you go to smatec.org, type in cottage foods, you can go in and see the resources that SMATEC has. Just as an FYI, the acidified foods, the Amish folks in St. Mary's County had to go through that in 2011. So it was very interesting. I was the one who coordinated that because they had to have a higher educational institution sponsor it. But that has been refined significantly because of things that SMATEC has done over the last 10 to 12 years. Complicated to a certain extent, but SMATEC goes in and they also have information regarding helping you with labeling, all that kind of good stuff. So there's a lot of stuff on the state website for sure. Local stuff is through SMATEC, and I'm not giving you a marketing thing for SMATEC, but again, it's local resources. It's on their list. Okay. So, yep, just wanted to provide that. Thank you.
No, thank you. And that is exactly the kind of networking that happens that I love so much is when you meet people for the first time there. And part of our mission statement is building those networks in the local community. And that this is absolutely an opportunity for do that. We have people who are hosting events, who are scheduling events, come to the market. I'm not going to say poach vendors, but they do come invite vendors to their events. And that is an opportunity for them to, because they get to see you and your product and they know what you're about. So we're all for that. Ma'am. Sadly, there is no Friday market this year. We tried it 2 years in a row and it got worse and worse every time. I'm very disappointed about that, and I'm still pushing for a First Friday experience in the downtown. And if you want, I will happily drag you in on that. First Fridays, as much as I love them in other places like Leonardtown, and I mean that's all over the state, we just have not been able to get that traction here. So, okay. Any other questions? Ma'am. Oh, sorry, Julie in the back. Oh, you're going to have to be on microphone for this.
This allows a vendor to either sell something that requires refrigeration, or it might be a mobile unit from another area or something like that. It allows them to get a permit to operate as a temporary event. We do have an application and a fee for that, and guidelines for that, which you can reach out to us and get. There is a fee for it. And just like with your application, we strongly encourage you to apply early, because we so often get people apply, they try to do it the day before. And you have to understand the application has to be processed and it has to be reviewed, and that takes time. And most of the EHSs like myself are out in the field. So we might not be in the office to even review it. So it says it recommends 2 weeks. That's great, but we try for at least, 5 to 10 days if you can. But if somebody wants to try something new or do something different, we do have the availability of temporary event permits for that. And we can give you the guidelines for that, just to let you know that those are more options. So.
All right, if you hang out here much more, I'm going to think of stuff. So if you don't have any more questions and you are not one of the returning seasonal vendors who can turn in your application fees, then thank you so much for coming out today. I was really happy to have you. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. Okay. Thanks. Have a great weekend.